right. Hey guys, thank you so very much for joining. This is Real Talk Houston, and I am Carlotta B. Today we have an exclusive interview, and I want you guys to join me as we dive into some real talk and some real chat with Terrance Wright. Welcome to the show. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Well, I've been talking about it for a while, so I'm glad
I
I finally
know
made it.
we
Yeah.
finally made it happen.
Yeah.
So, hey, boss fam, Terrance is an actor, model. He's also a trainer. He's a strength and conditioning coach. He's a community advocate, and he's also a member of the world renowned, the official Salt and Pepper Gang.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, right. Everybody's been talking about the Salt and Pepper Gang.
Right.
I also want to let you guys know that today's show is sponsored by Aggressor Clothing. It's a Houston-based custom clothing line that separates you from the rest. And Aggressor Clothing is second to none. Cruise on over to his IG page at Ag World on Instagram to see his work and his world-renowned global customer list. He's done some great things. And I think, do you have a line also? I think I saw
Yes.
Rise. What is it called?
You Rise Together Apparel.
You Rise Together Apparel. So Terrance also have some gear. If you want to go check out his website or his Instagram page, you guys can do that as well. He has some really dope gear also.
Yes, thank you.
So again, guys, thank you so very much for joining us today. So we have an introductory icebreaker.
Okay.
I've had tons and tons of messages that's asking about what is the Salt and Pepper Gang. They hear about it, they see you guys, and they think it's amazing. But Boss Fam is asking, what is the story behind the Salt and Pepper Gang, and how did it get started? Tell us a little bit about what you guys do, and if you do
Okay.
anything in the community.
Yeah. Well, the group itself is still relatively new. It's been
Okay.
about a year, maybe a little bit over a year now.
Okay.
So not to be confused with the Silver Fox. They've been out for a little bit while longer.
Gotcha.
But they don't do a lot of things in the community like the Salt and Pepper Gang does. And so that's what actually originally intrigued me about these guys. It's a group of brothers, not only just looking good and being an example and being mentors to our youth, but also being in the community and putting together awareness walks and talking at places like Morehouse to the students there.
Nice.
I put on a mental health awareness academy that we do at TSU. So
nice.
the premise around the whole group was elevating our youth, bringing awareness to different issues, and actually being active in the community, which I found was very important, and it really aligned with a lot of the things that I was already doing.
Yeah.
So I ended up reaching out to the group. I mean, and just immediately the vibe and the aura and the things that those guys got going on, it's powerful. And I always say we're always stronger together. So
this is true.
It's a group of guys, and we got some really great things that we're putting together. A prostate walk at our park that we just adopted. So we get adopted MLK Park.
That's great. We need awareness. We need more awareness around that for our men.
So definitely.
Very important.
And so just bring awareness to all kind of issues, everything from battered women to prostate cancer to mental health. Just so wherever we can use our platform to elevate and educate.
Right. You guys take this on the road as well, right?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
kind of travel and go to different cities.
Okay,
you guys have a tour, like a Salt and Pepper Gang tour, right?
Yeah, so part of our tour is called What Women Want Tour.
Okay.
And that's where we have, on average, about 10 guys on a panel. Okay. And we're just having candid conversation, talking about relationships and communications, and that kind of that male guy woman dynamic and how that all kind of fits together.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. That's good information too. That's actually well needed these days also. Definitely so. All right, so we're going to talk about, peel away some layers on a few aspects of what you do.
Okay.
We're going to talk about your acting. We'll talk about the strength and conditioning coach work that you do. And we're also going to talk about the modeling that you do. And I know you have some commercials that you're doing. So I've seen you on TV, and you're doing good things. You're doing good things. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about the acting first.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean
No
to cut
problem.
you off.
No,
Let's
you're
talk
good.
about the acting first. So, how did you get into acting, and what movies or commercials have you done?
So the acting part is kind of almost in the same realm as the commercial, but I've been doing more
Okay.
commercials since I was in high school. So that started off like Academy. So back in the day when we actually had newspapers
Mm-hmm.
and ads in it, so you'd go into the ads. So
Yeah.
I started off doing Academy,
Okay.
and for the longest I was doing a lot of more commercials than anything. So it wasn't quote unquote acting. It wasn't film
Mm-hmm.
along those lines.
Okay.
Did that for several years. Got into
Okay.
oil and gas. Stopped, kind of took a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before the pandemic, I kind of just I prayed for God to give me a way to spread my wings and use
Yeah.
my skills and
Right.
give me the ability and the time to do all those things. And He laid me off.
Okay.
And
Most people would think they're cursed, but you actually prayed for a segue
yeah.
into leveling up and doing something different. How did you feel when that happened?
Um, I wasn't afraid, so
Okay.
I have a lot of faith, and I think in doing that, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Um, and although in that journey, especially in being in acting, your money isn't always uh, as consistent as that 9 to 5 check,
Mm-hmm.
but it's way more gratifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
working for nobody and not having to uh, answer to anyone. And I mean, if you don't get up, ain't nobody gonna pay your bills.
This is true. This is
But
true.
at that same time, to be able to build and design your own everything
Right.
and do it
Yeah.
from the ground up, and
Yeah.
not that sometimes those things don't take help, but to
Yeah.
really engineer and manifest all those things. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in this era of manifesting the things that I want. Um, so it went from that, and then after the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, I got
Mm-hmm.
into movies. So
Okay.
started doing a couple films. So there's
Mm-hmm.
one called Frankie. That's like a black horror movie. You probably find that on Tubi. But
Okay. Yeah.
so that was one of the, that's more of a lower budget one. So it was one of the first
Yeah.
ones. So when I look
Okay.
at it, I have a bunch of stuff I could critique about myself
Right.
and the
Right.
movie,
Yeah.
but it's okay. And I think kind of
Yeah.
in that whole acting aspect, you really learn not to critique too much.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
Mm-hmm.
it was, that's where you're gonna leave it, and they like it, they don't like it, they like me, they don't like me.
Right. Right.
I try not to put too much thought into that at all.
Yeah, it's almost like watching film, like an athlete would watch film. They go back and they watch their performance and they look at what they want to improve on or what they could have did differently.
Right.
So I'm sure you find yourself doing that, right? And that
Yes. So
makes us
I
better.
think in the that end project, yes. But when it comes to like auditioning,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So the audition is like, here I am, even
Mm-hmm.
if you want me to be a different character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is my version of that character. So when you
Yeah.
do it, I always say a lot of times they don't know what they're looking for till they see it.
Ah,
So
okay.
in that
Okay.
aspect, um, I don't think I do the audition. I forget about it, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe they call
Mm-hmm.
me back. Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's a one call back, but I don't get the second one.
Right. Right.
Um, but I don't put no effort and no thought into it. I pray about it, and if it's for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. You
you
go
know,
in, you do your thing,
yeah,
and you pray about the rest.
that's it.
Right? Um, have you had any really, really challenging roles that you had a problem with?
So not anything that actually came to production,
Okay.
but there was a time where I got a script,
Okay.
and they wanted me. It was several pages. It wasn't anything little, but it was a British film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Houston.
Okay.
Not born in Houston, but I've been in Houston since forever, since I was
Okay.
like 6. So
Okay.
Houston's home.
Okay.
I don't have a British accent, nor have I practiced one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wanted me to be a British speaking preacher that was demonic.
Oh my.
Right. So with the whole
Yeah.
chants and the whole,
Yeah.
and I got a lot of faith. I don't feel comfortable chanting
Mm-hmm.
nothing that I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm
Anything
saying.
demonic on
Right.
top of that. Yeah.
So that I tried to get into character, and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I won't say I burnt the bridge, but I feel like they did kind of feel some type of way that I
Mm,
turned it down at the last minute. But you have to go with your heart and your own intuition and listen to yourself.
exactly.
And I feel like even if I did get that part,
Hmm.
I wouldn't have really been able to get into it like I should have.
Like you, right. So
So
you could not have played
yeah,
that role to the best of your ability
right.
because your faith wouldn't allow you to, right? It
Yeah,
just didn't
I
feel
just
right.
even just practicing it and going through
Yeah,
this
yeah.
different chants and this and that, and I was just like,
It
yeah.
just doesn't feel
So
right.
I feel like especially in the entertainment, a lot of people they want you to compromise on your morals and your
Yeah,
beliefs, and
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
not like that.
yeah.
So
Ooh, wow.
yeah,
I talked to another actor in one of my other interviews a long time back. I think maybe season two,
okay.
and I posed the same question, and their response was the toughest thing for them was a role where they had to be up close and personal, and they were telling me that the other character that they were had to get up close and personal with had an odor, and it was so that's a different type of challenge, but yeah, I thought
That could
that
be
one was
difficult. Now,
yeah.
is it like gum?
Mm,
So
no, I think
right.
it was just something that they couldn't either they couldn't control it or it was something they were not aware of. But yeah, it happened more than once during filming. So I don't know. But that's a
Oh
tough one.
dear.
That's a tough one
Oh
too.
dear.
That's a tough one
Yeah.
too. So we just
Never
talked.
experienced that though.
Yeah. Oh
So
really?
not
You
not
had
on
to?
set.
Oh. Oh
Not on
okay.
set.
I was gonna say, how did you handle it?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I've
But
been
even
like
on
an
set, how
intimate.
did you handle that? Inquiring
There,
minds want to know.
okay,
How do you handle that if you with someone?
I'll do a quick story. So
Okay.
went on a date
Okay.
um, several years ago,
Uh huh.
and date was cool.
Mhm.
We just went to a little pool hall.
Mhm.
Conversation was decent.
Okay.
She was looking cute. Everything was in, and I had known her for before, so
Okay.
good conversation and chemistry.
Yeah.
Walked outside. Day was over. Going to the car, talking,
Mhm.
and we went. We were hugging each other.
Mhm.
So her head's kind of by on my shoulder, and we're
Right.
just kind of hugging, kind of talking at the same time. And as we're
Right.
talking,
Uh huh.
the wind blows and her breath. And for whatever reason, I hadn't smelt it the whole night, but for whatever reason, the wind blew just right,
Oh my
and it wasn't a little bad. It
goodness.
was
Oh.
horrible.
Oh,
Like
that's
like
sad.
I
Oh.
mean, like bad to the point. Like I don't. They ain't, a gum wouldn't have done it. Like
Really?
Banaka wouldn't have done it.
What do they call that?
Tic Tac.
Halitosis. Bad case of halitosis, right? That's actually a thing. That's
It
like a
is. I
medical
had a
thing,
friend when I was
right?
little, like in the eighth grade, who drank a lot of milk, and he had it.
Ooh, oh my
It's like
goodness.
chronic bad breath. But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
granted to say, I never saw her again. But
I know that's
I
kind of
can't. I
sad
can't.
though. But did you ever tell? Did you?
I did tell her. She asked me why I didn't kiss her.
Oh, you told her. What did she say?
She's like, "Why didn't you offer me any gum?" I was like, "That wasn't gonna do it."
Oh my
So
goodness.
I'm honest.
Oh,
If I'm not anything, I'm honest.
embarrassing. Embarrassing. But anyway, at least you were honest. Maybe you helped her out for the next guy. So
Helpfully,
okay. So that you did a good date. That was
yeah.
a very humanitarian thing to do.
I try.
Okay, back to acting. Good job, though. What techniques do you use to connect with your characters emotionally? And we just talked about the one that you could not get into at all,
Right.
but characters that you are okay with and characters that you do want to play. How do you connect with that character and get your mindset to be that person?
Um. So I think a part of it is not trying to act like the character, but actually envision yourself as that person.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to act like that person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just am that
I
person. And in
am
that,
that person.
I know how that person feels in that moment. So I don't necessarily
Right.
try to necessarily remember the lines.
Okay.
I try to remember the emotion.
Become that person and what that
Right.
person would feel and do at that moment.
Yeah. So if I'm feeling
Okay.
how that person feels in that moment.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have to remember the words. The words will come with the emotion. So
Right.
really just
Right.
trying to figure out how does that person feel and why do they feel like that. And once you figure out, okay, this person feels this way because of these things, you start to kind of have this backstory that gives you all this ammunition of how you should respond and how you
Yeah.
would be maybe aggressive or maybe you'd be
Yeah.
hurt and how you were going to respond when you're hurt and
Right.
those kind of
Right.
things.
So
So
you
just kind of,
deviate. You
yeah.
deviate off the script a little bit. And is that normal? So if you
So I
have,
wouldn't
you
say
don't do
deviate.
word by word though, right? Because a lot of times, how can you really, really, really,
It depends on
really,
the
truly
film.
become that person?
It depends on the film. So
Okay.
there's certain scripts they want you to be on the script.
Verbatim.
There's a writer and he's like, I wrote this and say it right.
Yeah.
I've been on other films, so even The Jealous Daughter, which is the last film I did, a lot of that was
Okay.
improv in the midst of the dialogue.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
there's the set scenes, but as far as some of the dialogue and the stuff that happens in
Yeah.
the scene,
You have a little
you do have
flexibility.
flexibility. So
Okay. Great.
I think it just depends on who that director is, if they're super anal about it, or if
Yeah.
they're,
Hey,
you
I'm
know,
strict about that.
right,
I want you to say exactly what's in that script and nothing else.
right,
I think some of the best films is a combination of the two,
yeah,
where you follow the script and you also, if you're in that character, you give it some of your own flair. And I think a
you
lot of times
should,
that make it a lot more. It brings that character to life a lot more if it's
absolutely.
done that way. So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I feel
cool.
like people are emotional people, and if you can incorporate some emotion
Yeah,
into that, and
yeah.
emotion can be very subtle.
Right,
So I think a lot
right.
of people they think acting you have to be all big, especially
Hmm.
on film. A lot of it's super subtle,
Yeah,
whether it's
yeah.
just eye movement or just a gesture, and a lot of those things say a lot more than those dramatic moves. So I can just cut my eyes and,
Right,
but it says a whole lot.
right, right.
But if you're not paying attention, you might not see those. But it's those little nuances that kind
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
bring
The
out the
small things.
character and make you relate with them.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Can you share with us an experience where you've had to adapt quickly on the set, or um, there was a quick change that happened and you had to quickly change your mindset to adjust to that particular scene?
Okay. The movie Frankie. So there was a scene where we're upstairs. I'm being woke up out of my sleep. Somebody's got stabbed, and I'm supposed to walk out of the room and respond to them about being stabbed. So at the very
Okay.
last minute,
Okay.
they changed it to where I'm running it downstairs, and now I'm gonna fight this masked murderer
Oh
guy.
my. Okay.
So it was a completely different scene. It wasn't
Right.
anything like what I had prepared for.
Right. Right.
Um, but they were just like, and it's
Let's do
literally
it
at the
this way.
last minute.
Yeah.
So in that, you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna respond this way, and this is my emotion for this scene.
Right. Right.
So at the
Right.
last minute,
Right.
they're telling you to have a completely different emotion.
Yes.
So
I've seen that
it
happen.
takes you a second to kind of get out of that emotion, and then
Hmm.
okay, now I'm in this brave
Yeah.
scene
Now I'm
where
ready to
I'm
go
getting ready to
fight
go fight.
somebody. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so sometimes
You had to
it
change
does
it
take
up.
a little bit to kind of be like, okay, and shake that off, and then kind of put yourself in a different mind
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but it can be
Interesting.
fun. It could be fun. It's
Yeah.
not
I
it's
can see
work,
that.
but if
Yeah.
you're really just enjoying it for what it is, have fun with it.
That happened here actually. A lot of the movie Killer Zaddy was filmed here,
Okay,
right?
okay, yeah,
And at the very last minute, they kind of changed up the scene where Killer Zaddy was injured and stabbed, and
yeah,
so changed it up. And I was like, that's really good. So a lot of times it can be a very positive change,
right,
and it worked out perfectly. The change that was made last minute like that was perfect. Perfect, perfect. Got a
yeah.
standing ovation from all the crew. It was like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that was
That's
on
it.
point.
That was it.
That was a jam right there. So last question about acting. How do you handle constructive criticism and feedback from the director or like your fellow cast members? Have you
Give it to
received
me.
any criticism?
Give it to me. So
Yeah. If it's gonna make you better and it's good,
now, don't be mean to me, but
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
but
Constructive criticism.
I don't mind constructive criticism. Like there was a demo reel that I had,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I pieced it together about some different stuff, and I thought it was cool.
Okay.
And I had given it to this lady who has been in the industry for a while, and
Okay.
she was going to pass it along, and she looked at it and she's like, "That's not it."
Ah.
I was like,
Okay.
"Well, what do you mean?" She's like, it's she just gave me a bunch of criticism, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I understood where she was coming from,
Mhm.
and in that, it's not necessarily about me feeling some type of way, but how do I want to be represented?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah.
looking at the end goal and what she's actually saying, she's doing that to help me and saying, "Hey, that's not it,"
Yeah.
as opposed to, "Yeah, sure," and letting me
Right.
represent myself in a light that doesn't really give me all the
Right.
gusto and the ammunition that I could
Right.
have.
That you could
So I
have. Yeah.
appreciate
So
it.
that's good.
Yeah. So I don't, whether it's good, bad, I appreciate everybody's opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody got one.
And that's good though.
So,
Things can make you
I don't
better.
take it to heart though.
We welcome it.
So, yeah.
Hey, we were talking about the SPG salt and pepper game earlier.
Yes.
You have a calendar?
I do have a calendar.
Where is the calendar?
So, Salt and Pepper Gang 2024.
Yeah.
We just came out with this calendar. So it's our desktop calendar. Mr. January, since my birthday is in January, I actually start off
sitting right here.
the calendar.
Okay.
But it's all of my Salt and Pepper brothers. So we got my brother Russ for February, and as you flip through it, it just has all these guys. So my guy Damien, Killer Zaddy, if you hadn't seen that already.
Yeah.
My guy Pete Felton. So it's all distinguished gentlemen that they care about their community.
This is 2024.
2024.
Okay. All right.
So if you want to get this, you can either go to my Instagram page under my link tree on TikTok. You should be able to find that on there too. Go to my TikTok shop. So
excellent.
There's that.
So is that my copy? You brought that for me, right?
You know I did.
Yeah.
So hopefully she put this like right in front of that leopard right there.
Right in front. It's a panther. Black panther.
Panther.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you for my copy. I appreciate that.
Yes. So we'll put that right there for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about your strength and conditioning work that you do. Let's talk about that. What's your approach to designing any type of personalized workout plans for clients that have fitness goals?
Yes.
How do you put that together?
Well, I think the biggest part is having that first conversation where you're honest about what you really want to get out of your fitness. So once we're like, okay, well, why do you want to get fit? And we have a conversation about what's your motivation? Why are you doing this?
Right.
So I think in part of that, I have to know what's going to motivate you in order to have those right kind of conversations. Right. I feel like fitness is so much of a mental part and a mental battle outside of the physical exercises that we do.
Yeah.
So whether it's we used to be an athlete and we used to be able to do a whole bunch, and now we can't do a whole bunch, and we're trying to mentally get past the fact that we're not doing what we used to. And we can't start off like we used to. So I think there's a big part where people get down on themselves and they focus. Oh, I can't do. A month ago I could do this and that, and I can't do it right now. So there's that mental preparedness that you have to kind of have that conversation with. And then on the building a program, a lot of it starts with our foundation, which is just our balance and our flexibility.
Yeah.
So a lot of the beginning phases of our fitness is functional. Okay. You'd be surprised how differently we bend down and tie our shoe when we're flexible and we've been doing squats.
Yeah.
Right? How easily is we can lift up our foot and put our socks on.
Pull your knee up to your chest and tie your shoes even.
Absolutely.
Simple things.
The simple things that we don't really think about, that when you start to really just work on our balance and that just being able to be even and move fluidly and pick things up and stretch without having to pull something. Right. When we get past that, then we can get into the funner stuff and into building strength and those things, but we always have to have a foundation.
Right.
So I think that's the beginning part, is the conversation, find the motivation, and then build off.
Being honest with yourself too.
Because I don't care if you lie to me, because it's not gonna hurt my feelings, right? I always tell people, if you eat bad and you tell me it's not gonna hurt my feelings, I just want you to be accountable for the things that you do and understand, that don't lie to yourself.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I did. Funny story, and this is a true story. A few years back, I was an athlete in school, in high school and college. I was a sprinter.
Okay.
Broke some records.
I was gonna say track.
Yeah. Sprinter. Decided to do alumni track when I moved to Houston. This was a few years back. Decided I wanted to run an alumni track team. Yeah. So went to practice, and the first thing, I was hyped drunk. Yeah. First thing the coach said was, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you consider yourself as far as being in shape? Yeah. Therein lies the lie. I lied to myself and said, I'm about an 8. Knowing I wasn't, but I had too much pride to say I was more like a 5, because I haven't been working out, I hadn't been running, I hadn't been training, lifting weights, none of that.
But he put you on the spot.
He put me on the spot. He put me with the 8s. Yeah. Because the track was separated into 4 different groups. The people that just came out, beginners, I want to learn about track, that group. The group that, I ran track 5 years ago. The group that ran 2 years ago. And then the group that's hot and ready. Right. So he put me with the group that ran about 2 or 3 years ago. Okay. When I tell you, we had to start out running repeats. We did about 550s. Then we did 500s yards. By the time we got to the hundreds, I was out of there. So anyway. Yeah. Needless to say, I think had I been honest with myself, I probably would have continued the course, and I would have gradually worked my way back into actually running alumni track. But because I had a bad experience, I didn't go back to practice. So anyway, that's the story. Hence, being honest with yourself, guys. You have to be honest with yourself in order to meet your goals.
That part.
Yeah.
Make it realistic, so that we don't have to be up there with the 8s.
Exactly. When you're more like a 5.
There you go.
But yeah. Can you provide an example of a client's success story that particularly stands out? One that you're proud of?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Melissa.
All right, Melissa, you did that, girl.
She did that. So several years ago, right before the pandemic, had gotten to an accident.
Okay.
They sent me to a clinic where I was supposed to go through the therapy and stuff like that. Okay. And I met a young lady. She was sitting in the front of the desk, and super quiet. Just barely would speak. She, she see me, I see her, say hello, but it was very, quiet, kind of to herself. Yeah. Through that, I kind of introduced her into my fitness program, and we kind of started working out together. Okay. And we started doing some shakes. And over the course of a year and a half, she lost over 140 pounds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't just the physical appearance. When I say this woman went from very timid and quiet to speaking in front of hundreds of people about her experience, to posting, to getting out of a relationship she wasn't happy with, right. To finding somebody that she appreciated and someone who appreciated her, right. Just a completely happier individual inside and out.
That is so wonderful.
I mean, it's she moved out of Houston, but when I see her, I mean, still that same happy person now.
Yeah.
And that transformation is so gratifying and humbling to, because when you work with people who are really serious and really care, they help me just as much. That's motivating me. Like, if you can get up and you can have me point and tell you what to do, and you can do it, not know that you can, what your end goal is going to actually look like, but you just have faith in that.
Right.
I got you.
That is amazing. Yeah. That's an amazing story. One more question about strength and conditioning, and we still got to touch on the modeling. How do you ensure proper form and techniques to prevent any injuries during workout? How do you make sure your clients do not hurt themselves by trying to do too much?
So, even for myself. So I've been through a period. I've tore this pec muscle. I got a tear in my shoulder.
Okay.
Preparation and stretching.
Okay.
So 90% of most injuries happen because we're rushing and not prepared.
Right. Not
So
stretching, just diving in.
right.
For example.
So taking that little moment of time where we're saying, hey, let me make sure I don't injure myself. And take 5-10 minutes. And sometimes that doesn't seem convenient, but I promise you that's more convenient than an injury.
Yeah, right.
So injuries, there's man, I hurt my tailbone long time ago. If you ever hurt your tailbone, you can't do nothing.
Oh, that's painful.
Yeah, you can't walk, you can't sit, you can't crawl, you can't stand.
Oh my God.
So yeah, preventing injury. Even with my clients that use my online app, we go through and make sure that they have a healthy stretching regimen. So there's dynamic stretching and then static stretching. I use dynamic, which means it's a moving stretch.
Okay.
Right. So we're warming up and we're stretching at the same time, not just standing cold, holding that. Holding that. So not that that's a bad thing, but if you're going to do a stretching before a workout, you should do dynamic stretching where you're actually moving and getting that blood flow into those tendons. Because our tendons are brittle when they're just like rubber bands, and if you don't warm them up and get them ready, then
they become dry and brittle and breaks easily.
They can pop.
Right.
I had that one pop on me, and that's not fun.
Yeah,
it ain't.
That's not fun at all.
That thing was on fire.
Oh my gosh. So
But
hey guys, if you need any strength and conditioning or training, you're trying to get in shape, you guys can hit up Terrance on his Instagram page.
Yes. So Instagram, you can find me at Terrance_Wright and the number 1. But if you're looking solely for my fitness, that's FitnessMax247 on Instagram.
Yeah, sounds good. Couple more questions. I want to talk to you about modeling.
Yes.
How did you get into modeling, and what work have you done in the modeling industry?
So modeling, I think that's where I started off at. And
that was before acting.
Before acting.
Okay.
Even before academy. Once upon a time, I was with this agency, Page Parks. If you're in Houston, you probably know of it.
Yeah, I heard of Page Parks.
And it was okay. I felt like for a black man, and back then I was younger. I was only like 17, 18, but they didn't know how to market me. Yeah, they didn't know how to market me. So I felt like I wasn't getting a whole lot of work,
because and it was of your race. They didn't know how to market you, or
yeah.
Wow. Okay. They didn't have a lot of minority clients at the time, or
maybe they did, but
okay.
I don't. From my understanding, anybody of color definitely just wasn't working the same.
Gotcha.
So
I gotcha.
But it's different now.
Well, that's good. They've come a long way then, yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm not with them. I have moved on since then.
But I wonder. Well, hopefully they've come a long way.
I believe so.
And they've changed with the times.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So, you have a book.
I do have
a book.
So
talk to us about that. Tell us about your book.
So this one is Trimming Down the Right Way. This is an overall guide of our fitness that kind of gives you your motivation and your different aspects of really how to just stay consistent.
Okay.
So whether it's telling you different groups, whether it's telling you different ideas on where we can go work out, different ideas on being active.
Yeah.
Goes down to different just stretching and what all our different vitamins are for. So in the back, it just goes through our different vitamins. It goes through different workouts. Okay. Talks about our heart rate zone and drinking water. And so just an overall good aspect of, go in this direction for your exercise. And if you do these things, it'll help you be more consistent and reach your goals better.
I love that. Yeah. So I'll purchase your book.
That's yours too.
This is BOGO Day. Oh, I was gonna buy one, get one, but if you're gonna do
yeah, so these are gonna go. Right. These are together. This one's yours. Okay. But if you do want Trimming Down the Right Way, you get it free if you sign up with my online fitness or you can go to my Instagram and my link tree and purchase that, or go to Amazon and you can find that.
Awesome. Awesome.
But
I
that's
love
yours.
it. Well, I love it. Well, thank you so much. So I have the official Salt and Pepper Gang calendar, you guys. And I also have my book, Trimming Down the WRIGHT the Right Way.
That's
So
it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you.
We are getting low on time for today, but I did want to ask you one last question. What advice do you have for young actors or models or anyone that wants to get into strength and conditioning? What advice do you have for them to follow their dreams if they're feeling a little jaded or discouraged these days?
Um, I think the first thing is just making up your mind that your fitness is important to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that people don't make a change until it's important enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
find that is important to you, and then once you decide that you're going to make that step, surround you with like-minded people, whether it's going to a gym, whether it's get a Facebook group, whether it's find a friend that's going to help you be accountable, whether it's use an app that's going to help you be accountable.
Yeah,
Find
yeah.
something that's going to give you a little bit of push and give you some aid when we feel like we don't have any motivation. So or use all those things in combination. That works great too. So find a buddy, get a plan, get motivated. Find you a trainer if you feel like that's what you need. There's lots of places. Some places are more expensive than others.
Right.
You can reach out to me if you're here in Houston. You can find my online fitness app, and I can train you from anywhere in the world. So, it's all just having that desire and being consistent. So consistency will set you free.
That is awesome. What about actors? Anyone want to get into acting?
Acting.
Word of advice.
Word of advice, same thing. Find you a buddy. Go on Facebook. There's several groups on there. There's several like online not fitness training, actors. So Hod School of Acting, that's a great place. I've got up with them.
Nice.
But on the basic level, everybody should have an Actors Access and a casting network. Casting network is going to be more on the commercial side. Actors Access is for film. You can submit yourself. You don't need an agent, but you can get out there and start submitting. So practice makes improvement.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again for being here today. We appreciate you for taking time out of your day to come sit with me, Carlotta B, at Real Talk Houston.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes,
thank you.
We've been trying to get you here. And again, you guys, today's episode is sponsored by Aggressor Clothing. You can reach him over on Instagram at AGGWRLD. And again, second to none. Get your Aggressor gear there. Thanks, you guys.
It's Carlotta.